Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be discussing 5 top tips for virtual networking and we're going to go straight into it. Firstly, let's just start off by saying what a year it has been. We started off, in the UK anyway, around March time having our very first lockdown. This meant that thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses had to start sending their employees to work from home, including me. This was not an easy move for both the business and the employees. For loads of people, it was very difficult to work alongside colleagues virtually. Some people aren't as confident on working online using technology such as Zoom and Google Meet. However, for others, especially younger people, we're more able to use these different social media platforms to connect with one another and also use technology more efficiently. However, saying that, as much as it has its own pros and cons, many people have been struggling to continue networking. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of networking at this current time is so important, both to keep the relationships you already have and also to meet new people, new opportunities that you may not now be able to experience because there aren't any in-person networking events anymore, or even just the ability to communicate in person. So because of that, we need to be able to educate one another on how to make the most of what we have, the resources, the technology, and network as effectively as possible. So my first top tip is to nurture all your existing relationships. This might be people you went to university with, people from your old work, your current work, your colleagues, your friends, your peers, anyone who you already have an existing with or had in the past. There is nothing wrong, and do not be afraid to reach out to them and see how they're getting on. 1, to just keep your networks close, but 2, you never know at what point in the future or in this current state and market climate, something could come up purely from staying in contact with someone in the past or current. My second top tip is utilizing LinkedIn and also to be comfortable with speaking to strangers. What I mean by that is use this platform to your benefit. Connect with people within your industry. Connect with people who work in an industry that you aspire to go into or is part of your next steps in personal development. If you feel uncomfortable doing so, you can drop them a note with your request and be like, hey, I'm Tina, I'm really interested in the field you're working in and I really aspire to be there in the next 2-3 years. I'd love to connect with you and see what happens. But 9 times out of 10, people are willing to connect to help one another. So try that. Another thing that I personally have done multiple times is reached out to people who I may have already have connections with or have just connected with to request to have a phone call or go on a Zoom or Google Meet virtual call and get to know them. Like, it's as close as you can get to physically seeing one another, using hand gestures, your body language, and creating a nice relationship with one another. This may in turn out for that person on the other side of the camera to be your mentor. They might love helping you and arrange like a call every 2 weeks, every month to check up on how you are, tackle any issues there might be, and also help you maybe with your CV or your personal development. My third tip is to allocate time to network. You might decide to spend X amount of hours a week or half an hour a day to use LinkedIn or to network across social media or to start taking on more certifications to pimp out your LinkedIn or your CV. So for instance, in this time you might decide to start going through articles and liking and sharing them and putting your own input and perspective on them. Specifically articles that might be more relevant to the industry you're working on, industry you want to go into. My fourth tip is to attend virtual industry specific events. This can be webinars from people having panelists talking about a specific topic. For instance, how should we strategize social media marketing during COVID? That was just an example. But a lot of these events often also is an opportunity for you to network. For instance, if it's a tighter, smaller group, they might do breakout rooms. So for instance, if you're not familiar with them, on a Zoom call or Google Meet, you can be put into smaller groups in these breakout rooms, which means you're able to have like 5, 6, 7, 15 or like 3 people in a room with strangers, all there for one specific purpose. And you can meet them, see where they come from, what their journey was like, connect with them. So that's another really good way in virtually making connections and relationships. Finally, if you do your research, you might be able to also find mentor and mentee programs. So on either end, which you might be on, there are programs specifically for you to sign up, and they will pair you with a mentor or a mentee. So if you're looking to grow your career and you don't know what you want to necessarily do or how you're going to specifically find jobs, you might want to take up the mentee position, and you'll be partnered with a mentor within the industry you want to go into, the industry you are in. Usually these forms you can actually fill in if there's any specific requirements of a mentor you're looking for. It might be you want a mentor that is living abroad or in a specific country, a specific seniority, or maybe they work in a corporate business or a startup. And not only is this a really good opportunity for you to network with them, it kind of gives you a senior buddy in a sense to support you along your journey. So if your goal is to find a job, they will support you with prepping you for interviews, supporting you with your CV, and kind of even introducing you to other people that they may know within the industry. Or for instance, if your goal is to go into more leadership roles in your current workplace, you may have like a director or a manager to be partnered with you who are already in those leadership positions to advise you on how to get there. And these programs can last as long as you want, but usually they can be about 6 weeks, so you catch up once a week, you catch up once every 2 weeks. It's up to you, you can be flexible, but if it's a fixed program, they usually have their own criteria. So they were my 5 top tips. I hope they were useful. In my personal experience, I've done every single one, and I'm doing it on a continuous basis. There will not be a week without me having spoken to a new person. Without me having spoken to a new person, whether that be someone I met over LinkedIn, whether that be at Google. I continuously reach out to people working at Google, whether they work in Mountain View or in Australia or in the UK. I will just send them an email and be like, hi, I work in the marketing department in this team. Your role sounds really intriguing to me. If you have any spare time in the next couple of weeks, I would really appreciate if you put some time to speak to me. And 9 times out of 10, so far internally at Google, everyone's been open to talk. So experiment that. Don't be afraid to speak to people within your own business, and then slowly grow and develop this network. Another thing I'd want to mention is from speaking to different people, whether they're your existing relationships or external, just remember everyone comes from a different background. Everyone knows different people, everyone went to different universities, worked at different companies. They can sometimes refer you to a job or provide someone else's contact details that would be really useful for you to meet and network with. And you're just expanding your network naturally through speaking to people and being open to speaking to people who you may not have ever thought you'd be comfortable to do. So my conclusion is be open, utilize these lockdown periods, the working from home period, to use the spare time you have and speak to people, network, because at the end of the day, if something doesn't help you now, it will definitely come around in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. You never know when you might need one of these people. Or the tables will turn and you might actually be able to help one of these people to hire them or to support them in their future career. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be posting every Sunday without a break to help support you guys in your career development and discuss any fun topics that you request. Make sure you comment them down below, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button to not miss another video. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for more.